Okay guys, so here we have a quick guide to referencing. Remember, within the college we use the Harvard referencing system, so therefore we need the author's surname, then we just have an initial, we don't write the full first name, then we have the year that it was written in brackets, then the title of the piece is written in bold, and then finally a little section I like to call where we got it from. Hopefully this will become a little bit more obvious a little bit later. Remember, if you do get stuck or if there's a reference you're not quite sure about, if you look on the VLE such as Google Classrooms or Moodle, you'll find a little document called quote unquote, and that gives you a lot more information about where you can find these things. Okay, so I was given this task from my tutor. I had to use 5 different sources to list the characteristics of leaders and the skills that they have. So obviously the key word there is the different sources. So they really want me to look around, read around the topic, and they want me to do a different style of look at different referencing for the different styles that are out there. A little tip I have for you is that if you make sure that you reference as you go, it makes it easier rather than trying to do it all at the end. Sometimes a half an hour report can actually turn into 2 hours just by trying to find all the references again at the end, so do it as you go. So looking at 5 different sources, list the characteristics of a leader. So the first one I started off was a book. This is an academic course, so I used an actual academic book. As I said, I have to start with the authors, so there they are, written nice and across the top there. As we can see, there's more than one, so I write out all the surnames, and once again, as I said, I don't use their full name, I just use their initials. So it's Pedler M, Burgoyne J, and Boydell T. Looking for the year, I can't find it on the inside, so if I go to that first page, I can see it was copyrighted in 2004, so that's when I'll use as the year of publication. If there's multiple copyright dates there, you use the latest one, because clearly that is the latest copyright date. They can't put future copyrights in there. Next I look for the title of the piece, nice and bold on the front there, A Manager's Guide to Leadership, and I do it in nice and bold in my work. And next I said where I got it from, so this is a book, so once again if I go back onto the first page I can find out who published it and where they are. As you can see there, I've got a full address there, but I don't need the full address. Okay, the reason we reference is so that our tutor can sort our cites, so they can find exactly what we found, and that gives just enough information. So McGraw-Hill is the publisher and they are based in Maidenhead. I don't need to know exactly whereabouts. So, reading that book, I came up that Pedler et al. So as we can see here, when I cite it, I use the phrase et al. Because there's more than one person, you can just use the phrase et al. Et al. Means and others. So rather than write it all out again, so Pedler, Burgoyne and Boydell, I just write et al. Very useful if you have a lot of authors. And I state that they think, if you read this book, you will think that they come up with these 6 core attributes of a leader. So that's my in-text. As I said, I like to reference as I go, so that's how my references page is looking at. My reference page is just at the bottom of my document. And that's where it looks like there, the reference in full. Next I want on to an article, Management Today, good periodical journal, written by some professional bodies. So first of all, I have to find the author, and as we can see there, the author was Andrew Saunders, so it's Saunders A. The year was, well, this publication was released in June 2014, so 2014 is the year that it's done. Now this one gets a bit interesting. When we talk about the title, we actually write both titles. So first of all we start with the title of the piece, which is How to be a Chairman, and next we type the title of the publication. So it's the title of the publication in bold so that I can find it easier. So if my tutor was looking for this, they need to look for Management Today, and then they can find the article. As I said, where from? So that's what edition it was, June 2014. And even more, just to really help them out, so rather than looking through the whole thing, they can see that this article actually is from page 50 to page 53. So anyone trying to find this thing can really, if they just need to get hold of a copy of June 2014's Management Today, look to page 50 and they will be able to find this article. So once again, when I read the article, I thought that Saunders was really kind of hinting at these 7 areas, these 7 characteristics of what makes a leader, so that's why I've put it in my assignment. And as I said, referencing as I go, my reference page, now I've added Saunders in after that as well. Because I have to do different sources, next I looked at a YouTube video. Now, it's very hard when looking at a YouTube video. How do we know if it's something worthwhile commenting on? And how do we know if it's just somebody putting up their thoughts and opinion? As we can see, this was actually written by the CIPD Publishing. CIPD is the Chartered Institute on Personnel and Development, so we know they're a good quality source. Now, if we scroll down the page that we can see there, we actually get this uploaded section. So I can see that it was uploaded in 2009, so that becomes the date of when it was published. Next I want the title of the piece, so we can see that there quite clearly, Leadership Qualities dash actions, so leadership qualities dash actions. And next we talk about where from. So when we're doing a web page, we just can copy the URL there. So we just tell people it's available from this URL here. It's often useful when doing a web page to state when you accessed it, because sometimes web pages change. YouTube can take pages down all the time because people don't like it being up there, etc. Or if, say, you were looking at iPlayer, which once again is a very good source of information, that change every 30 days they take this stuff down. So that really helps. If you tell me when you accessed it, that can help me then find and source your information. Looking through the that video, I thought that they was really kind of talking on these different aspects there. So CIPD published in 2009, in their video highlight these key aspects of leadership. Once again, there's the in-text citation, and here I've added it to my reference page to really help me as I go. As I said, I needed to do 5 different sources. So here I got a bit creative. So I actually went back to one of my favourite films. Yes, not an academic piece, but the Avengers Assemble are one of the best teams we've got in the world right now, or in the universe I suppose, in the right now, and therefore there are leaders within that team. So I've looked at Captain America within that team. Now it's a bit blurred, but if you look in there you can see that the authors are Whedon and Penn, so we know who wrote it. Once again, it is a bit blurred again, I apologise for that, but we can in there we can find the information that it was actually released in 2012. So we use the release date as the actual date. Yes, it was probably written a lot earlier than 2012, but we used the release date. Once again, the title, quite nice, clear and bold on the front there, Avengers Assemble, so Avengers Assemble, and where it came from is Marvel Studios. I've even put in there in brackets Marvel Studio, just in case people don't know what the Avengers Assembles a film. You know, once again, it's helping my tutor to sort where I got my information from. And if I then look back on the Captain America scene there, I've put it in my information there. So Captain America in Avengers Assembles, he looks at these key attributes when he's giving his big final battle scene, and there's kind of 5 things I really think he does and focuses on. And as I said, in my references I'm citing as I go, so I don't have to go back and do that later. When I finish this piece of work, it's all done and dusted in one go. I don't have to go back and find my references. Very useful when you start going to doing much bigger pieces of work. And then finally, for my last one, I decided to use a song. Now, Mr. Urmston, he was the writer of this song, but that's on the inside of the cover, which I don't have to show you here. So you're just going to have to kind of trust me on that. Next, we need to know the year it was done. So if we look in this little bit of information there, we can find out that it was 2004. That helps out. But what actually was it? So the song we're actually using is the General, so that becomes the title there. We kind of need to know who did that song as well, because Mr. Urmston might not actually be part of the singers. So in some bands they don't sing songs they've written, some other people write it. So this is why we have the recorded by Dispatch there. So Dispatch was the band, they recorded the song. So now, you know, I could actually just type in YouTube the General Dispatch and it would probably play me this song. But for my referencing I need to know who wrote it, and that's why I have the Armstrong there. As I said, this is where did I find it? Well, where I found it was on the Bang Bang album. And who released the Bang Bang album we can find there. So it's released by Universal, who were currently coming out of Rhode Island at that time. So that's where the song, once again, you listen to that song, you might come up with these 4 key areas that you think a leader should have. And this is how I've written it in my text. And as I said, I'm referencing as I go, so there I go. Armstrong goes into my reference list there. So now I've finished my homework. I've got my list from 5 different sources. Obviously I'd need to pull it together in a bit of a summary. And I've also referenced them correctly using the Harvard style. So my reference page currently looks like that. However, I've not quite finished it just yet. Okay, when you do a reference page, it shouldn't be written in the order that it appears. It should actually be written in an alphabetical order. So if I like the text and then use that little button there, it will actually put it in an alphabetical order for me. So there we go, that's my finalised reference list. So it has all the different references I used written in alphabetical order so that my tutor can find out where I got in my information from. As I said at the beginning, if you have any issues, please go back and have a look and quote unquote that is available online, or you can always ask your tutor. Happy referencing, guys.